What's up, my loves and fellow creatives? Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. We're going to go ahead and get into PSD Photoshop template number 251. This is a basketball theme. You can make it some of anything you can dream of, but I like to imagine it in a way where you can immediately apply it and immediately begin getting those sales in, because it is seasonal, and I think you'll be able to go ahead and get some orders just as soon as you post. You just have to make sure that you post. All right, so this template looks extremely complicated, but I'm going to break it down for you and teach you some advanced level Photoshop skills with a very simple template. Right now, I'm going to show you here that all of these little players are separated. They are each individually placed here. So I'm going to give you an idea of how to do that. We're just going to do it with one image tonight in class. So you're going to do it either with a photo or your mascot, and we're going to practice basically taking some of your image and hiding it behind the text so that it looks like you have a pop out effect. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to turn off the individual player levels here, or layers. Now you'll see that I have them layered here. I'm just keeping them on here so that you have an understanding of where you can place the players so that they pop up behind or in front of the appropriate text. So I'm going to keep those there, but for right now, I'm going to show you what it looks like if I just only do the mascot. So I'll leave the players on there for right now, because the mascot that I have on here at the very moment, you may have seen me put this together in our AI after party. I put the face on a different AI body and we recolored it. So we had some fun with that. We're not doing that in class. However, I am going to go ahead and switch out this mascot here. So this is my photo number 2. I'm going to double click on it here. Now, you should already have your image cleaned up in the background, cleaned up, because we've been working on that for some time now. However, I'm going to show you really quickly. If the image is not cleaned up, I'm going to come bring it into Photoshop. I just dragged and dropped it from my folder. Another thing you can do is File, Place Embedded, and get it in here just the same. Now what I'm going to do is remove the background. So I'm going to come over here to Object Selection Tool, go to my drop down and go to Cloud, hit Select Subject, and most of the time it's going to understand what the foreground image is. It's going to clean it up just nice as long as you hit this mask button here. And then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and resize this to the size that I want here. And my mascot is a bulldog. However, my colors are not just right. So the reason why I develop these colors either with cyan or blue is so that I can easily change my colors. So I'm going to do a quick hue and saturation change here. I'm going to right click and create a clipping mask so it clips it only to my bulldog layer. And then I'm going to grab this little finger over here, touch on the uniform, and it's telling me those are cyans. And I'm just going to move my cyan color until I get to the purple that I want. And be careful because you can get a little blurple. All right, and then I can also move my saturation up or down and my lightness to make it more like a pastel color or a deep dark plum color. And I think that's good right there. And that's it. That's all I have to do to change his uniform. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn the eyeball off of the panther there. I have my bulldog ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and close out, hit yes to save those changes. And now I have a bulldog. All right. So the whole idea that we're going to do here with your photo is we're going to practice making some of the text look like it's in front of, and then some of the text behind the character. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and get your character into position. And you want to have some understanding of what's going to be in front and what's going to be behind. So what I'm going to do is visually right now, I'm imagining that this leg, the forward leg, is going to be in front of the text. And then the back leg will be behind the text. And then I'll probably let this hand with the ball. It is very distracting. So I want to put it behind the text. However, I think that it's not going to look right because it's basically in the foreground. So I'm going to have to reduce my size just a little bit so that I can still see the word dream and that it makes sense there. Either that or I have to make it truly, truly large. And then that way, when I'm cutting off some of the text, I'll be able to see part of it. All right, so this one, I'm going to go a little bit smaller, bring it down. All right, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to duplicate photo number 2. Whatever I'm going to make it look like it pops out of, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that image. So I'll just right click and hit duplicate layer, hit OK, and then I'm going to link the two. When I link them, that means if I change the size of one, it changes the size of the other, just like that. And then I'm going to position it to where when I cut off, like for instance, if I cut off the back leg, it looks like he's kind of stepping over the text there. So the back image needs to go behind the text. So I'm just going to drag it all the way behind all of the text here. And you won't be able to see a difference right now because it is, it's all visible right now. Now I want to take the word dream. So I'm going to right click and find the word dream here. And I'm going to control select on the text here on the top of the T. And what happens is it creates marching ants on the active pixels of that text. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a layer mask on the bulldog. Now I can't just create a layer mask with these marching ants on. I have to make a special layer mask. So I'm going to go up to the layer mask, and I'm going to do a layer mask that reveals all, meaning that it's going to make a fully white layer mask. Okay. Otherwise, if I hit layer mask, it's going to mask only the inside of the text there, and that's not what I want. Okay. Now that I have the new layer mask on here, I can literally paint on the layer mask of the photo, or the bulldog in this instance, and go ahead and get rid of things that I don't want to see. So I'm going to make sure that black is loaded up on my paintbrush, and that will be the default black. If you don't see default black, go ahead and hit your default swatches there. Hit your switcheroo button to get the black in the foreground, and then make sure that you have a nice soft round brush here. And then the size of the brush should be probably somewhere around about 400 pixels because you may have to get into some detail. I'm going to go ahead and start showing you how I'm deleting. And it's not really deleting. What it's doing is it is creating a window. And see how I mistakenly took off? Here, I'll take off the basketball entirely because that's what I was concerned about. The basketball be in front of the D, and then maybe you can't read the word dream. And then it doesn't really make sense because this arm would probably be sort of behind if this one was behind. But I'm just going to leave it alone so I can show you the difference here. All right, so once that's all cleaned up here, I'm going to turn off this player number 5 because his leg was jumping over the word dream. I'm going to go ahead and deselect my marching ants. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect. And I can see that my mascot now is looking like he's popping out over the text here. All right, and there's my mascot. There's it turned off. And now it looks like I have a reason for my mascot to be in this image, and then also to be interacting with the players. But I'm going to turn the players off now, so you can see you can do players plus a mascot, or you could just do a player by itself, or you can just do the mascot by itself. So let's go ahead and turn off these individual layers of the players. That way we'll start to see more of the background as well. So all of those individual players are turned off. And the same exact way we just did this bulldog is the same way you would do each of those players. So I would definitely charge more if you're doing more than 1 or 2 photos. That was a lot of work to make sure that I put them in places that made sense, and then and basically created a window or a masking effect for parts of the image that I did not want to show through. All right, so if you're going to be doing all that, make sure that you are charging accordingly, because this was simple just to do one image here. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and show you how to change the colors here. So I have some smart colors enabled here. That's purple is a smart color that's enabled right now. And let me go ahead and save this. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And for this particular background, I'm going to show you the difference. I'm just going to increase the size of it here. And this was already kind of an abstract background, so I'm not too concerned about me stretching it out here. But I'll show you in a little bit, there is a background that I will do the AI effect on. Now also, I feel like here on this text, what I want to do is I'm missing the word one. So I'm going to do this for you all. I'll take the word dream. And in order for this to work, I actually have to turn this word dream into a smart object. Also the word one into a smart object. So I'm going to take here and I'm going to copy the layer style just so I can save it. I'm going to clear the layer style. I'll turn this into a smart object. And then I'm going to Alt click and drag a version of this up to the top here. Now for this one, I'm going to turn the fill all the way off. And then I'm going to paste the layer style. And for here, the fill should be on 0. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see what's going on here. And I'm also going to make sure that the blending options, give it just a moment, are turned on. And then I have overprint on my opacity here. And then I'm also going to do the same thing. I'm going to paste the layer style down here. Except the one down here, I want to have full opacity. I don't want it to be transparent at all. All right, and then I'm going to link this dream and this dream. Now you will not have to do this. If you keep it saying one team, one dream, or if you just happen to change the word dream, it will all change together now. And then I'm going to take the word one. I'm going to copy that layer style. Then I'm going to clear the layer style so that it's nice and clean here. You see it looks very, very flat. I'm going to turn that into a smart object. You won't have to do all of this. It'll already be done for you. I'm just showing you a little bit of the process. Some of you ask me how I make smart colors and smart objects, and sometimes why. And this is why, because I want to change these two pieces of text together simultaneously. All right. So, and I'll show you what's going to happen, how this is going to go on top of the mascot in just a little bit. So again, here, I'm going to paste the layer style, and then I'm going to turn the fill to 0. Then I'm going to make sure that I link 1 and 1. All right, so my very top layers of one and of dream, the very top layers, I'm going to take those two and I'm going to drag them on top of my photo. Now, how this works is it becomes an outline if you want it to be. And if you don't want it to be an outline, then you can turn it off. So for Dream, I think we have enough of Dream showing. But I kind of like the outline in some places. So again, you can take a layer mask, place a layer mask on each of these. And now I'm going to paint on the layer mask for Dream where I want the image to show through. So maybe like right there. And I'll turn the brush down in size just a little bit here. And I think I want it to, I think it's fine there. Getting a little pop out of the image here. Maybe the hand here as well. And I can do the same thing to one because I do want to see some of the text here. And in this case, I'm going to unlink my bulldog from the mask here. I'm going to make my bulldog a little bit bigger just because I don't want his face inside of the text there. So now it says one team, one dream. And if there were part of this that I wanted to show through, then I would do the layer mask here on the one. But I like it having the outline here, so I'm going to rock with that. And now you see how we do the pop out plus the outline. So now I'm going to do a really quick flip of flipping this into a totally different design and then doing a color change and all of that good stuff. And you'll be able to see what happens next. So let me make sure that I save my changes, do the save dance. And we are going to flip this design out to I think I'm going to do the futuristic thing. Okay, so this time instead of changing out the mascot here, and I'm going to turn the back mascot off unless we absolutely need it. And then also what I'm going to do, no, I'll leave the one right there because when we layer the images, it does look better to have a little space right there. All right, let's go ahead and bring in our alternate image, our photo. So that was our mascot. We also have an image here. You see how you can make the text, and I will make one a little bit bigger. And before I made it bigger, I should have went ahead and saved this. I don't think I saved my art. So this is going to be art 251. I'm going to go ahead and just save this as an example. So as we go, we have some examples. So this will be my version number 2. And you'll see how fast we can flip this out once we get the hang of things. Now this does not have to say one team, one dream, but I'm not really focused on changing out the text for this class. I want you really to focus on doing your pop out and your outline feature. All right, so for photo number 1, I have this photo going on and it's a player running through the image now. And because I have the previous image layer mask on the dream, then it is kind of letting some of his legs show through. But I'm going to show you what happens when that's not quite what you want to show through. So I have them here, one team, one dream. I'm going to reduce the size just a little bit here so I can see the word team. And what I would have to do is I would have to delete the layer mask here. And I would have to create a fresh mask onto the layer number 1. So I'm going to add a fresh mask here. And in this case, I can just turn off my outline to dream, and it looks like he's going right over it. But if there are parts that you want to pop through and parts that you do not, you would do the same exact thing that I just talked about, which was to let some of the letters go over. Now here he has one leg going forward, the other leg is bent, so we don't have this issue. But if this leg was not bent, if it was down to the ground and it was in the background and not the foreground, then I would absolutely take the word dream and go ahead and mask off that leg that would be in the way there. But this works out just perfect. I'm going to pick the colors from his jersey, or if I have a logo, I can pick the color from the logo. So you have an accent layer in here if you want to put a logo in there. So accent number 1 is a bear. And I'm just going to go ahead and update color number 2 to my swatches here. Oh, I guess I didn't pick my green yet. So I want to grab my color picker and grab the green from his jersey. And then that's going to be my color number 2 here. I'll just duplicate the current layer. Then I just tap on the color I just created in my swatches. Hit yes to save. And now color 1 is activated most places. So I'm going to go everywhere I see the purple, which is where color 1 is, and I'm going to activate color 2 instead. Now, if you notice it's not as dark as you want it to be, then what you want to do is you want to adjust the levels. And if you just move the midtones there, most of the time you can get the color that you want. There it is. And same thing here with team. I'm going to turn off the purple and turn on the green there. And I actually like that one being a little more washed out than the one here. Like I said, if that green is looking a little light for you, just double click on the levels and change that out. Same thing with dream here. You could just keep the galaxy in there if you want and change it to green. And of course, adjust the levels if you want to. Simple as that. Now let's go ahead and change out the background here. You have some options here for a few different backgrounds. This one I really like as well. You have the galaxy just by itself. Everything here is AI generated except for the galaxy. Just the plain galaxy without the basketball goal. Now, if you feel like your colors are a little dark, then you can add a levels layer, and I'll go ahead and do that for you. And again, you can adjust those levels so that you can get the lightness or the darkness, the intensity of the color that you want. And again, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my green here so you can see that you can absolutely change the entire image. Now, what I want to do is I want to change only the hue here. So I'm going to turn off this levels right now. And I want to only affect that cyan color there. And what I can do is I can go to this hue saturation layer, go just to the cyans, and I'm going to shift the color until I get to green. And if it's not quite the green that you want, you can play with the saturation and also the lightness in order to get a more desirable green. But that is indeed green. And I want it to be a little more neon, a little more bright, because the color green in the team is very dark. But if this is a green galaxy, then I would expect it to have some brightness to it. Now, what I'm going to do for this background here, y'all are not doing this in class. I'm going to show you, you can extend the background here. So since my goal is offset to the sleeve instead of in the center here, and I did that because I wanted to see more of the goal, then I'm going to use my cropping tool, pull this out just a little bit, hit enter to lock in that transformation. Then I'm going to select with the rectangular marquee this area and overlap the image just a little bit here. And actually I have my feather pixel on. I'm going to turn it off to 0 right now because I'm not feathering the inside. All right, and with that overlap, I'm going to hit generative fill and generate. And it's going to give me something right here. I don't know what it's going to give me, but it's going to give me something. All right, and let's take a look at what it gives us for option 1, 2, and 3. I think I like 2 the best. And once I have what I like, I'm going to right click. And then I'm going to merge that down. With that merged down, I can close out of this now. And keep in mind, this was just for like a little extension of the shirt design over here. So now I'm going to pull my goal back where I wanted it. All right, and now I have like an offset design here. All right, and this again is a ready to go design. I don't have to add individual players. You can actually have a group photo and do the exact same process. And you can even change the words here if you want to. I'm going to make my mascot here just a little bit lighter. So about 27% opacity because I want it to look more like it's watermarked here. All right. And that's a flip. Let's right click, quick export as PNG. And that would be my flip number 3. Donna, this is not so advanced, I promise. Come to class. As long as you have the file and you stay with us and your Photoshop is keeping up, we're going to help you get to it. All right, so I'm going to flip it one more time. Let's go ahead, and this time I'm going to flip it a little bit different. I want to try something a little different. So I'm going to take my photo 1 and I'm going to I'm going to go to our Discord here. I made a little cyborg image. Let's see which one we're going to use. I like this one, the arm. That one's really neat, but I don't know. I don't know. And my whole point was I wanted to get like a futuristic looking player here, or a futuristic mascot. So I'm going to go with image number 3. And this is just to show you that if you had like a regular photo shoot, you could add some elements that would really make those images stand out. You can even face swap, put the jerseys on. Like there's so many things you can do once you actually know how to use Photoshop. It is ridiculous. All right, so I'm going to grab that image and upscale it. So I'm just going to open it in browser, save that image. And let's go ahead and bring him in now. So I'll do File, Place Embedded. And you can see my hue saturation is still on there. I'm telling y'all, if y'all do everything in cyan or blue, you will not be upset. You will not, unless you just really needed to do your school colors, then do it the school colors and you don't have to change anything. But I like when my images can be used for multiple projects. So I'm going to go to my object selection tool, go to cloud and then select subject. All right, and let's go ahead and create a real quick clipping mask. And if I wanted to change those colors, I absolutely can here. And let's just say for this time, I want to change the hue saturation. I will still go up to my, instead of master, I'm going to go to the cyans and let's make it, we already did purple, we did green. Let's do like a royal blue. So we're just turn it to more of a royal blue here. And we'll go ahead and resize it to make it a little bit bigger on the stage here. And you already know, I'm not dealing with any cut off images here. So I'm going to take this one here and I'm going to fade off the bottom. So I'm going to grab my paintbrush tool here and only on the layer mask, not on the image. I'm going to make sure that my brush size is about, I'll say 800 here because I just want to literally just fade off the bottom very, very quickly and easily. I want no traces of a hard line. I'll hit yes to save. All right, and see how we're getting a totally different look here. And for this one, I could turn off the hue saturation, and it's already got a little bit of cyan, so I could push that hue saturation. So this one is going to make it more green. So I'm just going to call this one green. And then I'm going to duplicate this layer, turn off the green one, and then tell it on my cyans, I want to push the color more to blue instead of cyan. And then I could also change my lightness and darkness here. My saturation could increase or decrease depending on what I want to get there. And of course, now I can change out my color number 2 instead of green. I'm going to go to swatches here, duplicate this layer. And if you don't know, you have some swatches already built into Photoshop. I'm going to use a pure blue here. That is my way of understanding whether I have an actual blue or if I have a blurple. So I like to use the blues that are here in my pure palette. Let's hit yes. That's going to give me a real royal blue. And instantly changed all of those right there. And let's say, for instance, that for the mascot, or maybe even the photo number 2, let's say we want to bring in a mascot here. What I'm going to do is, instead of our traditional mascot, I am going to bring in one of these images I created today. And all of these images that I'm using are in our AI in Action class that we did on Monday. And I will be giving you all, regardless of whether you did the AI in Action class, you will also be receiving some of these AI files, just a few of them, so that you understand the power of being able to create your own images and not always looking for stock art. All right, and for this one, same thing here. I'm going to go to Object Selection Tool, Cloud, select Subject. Let's go ahead and create my layer mask here. And then on the layer mask, I am going to fade this one off. So I'm going to grab my paintbrush, and this one I'm going to do a little bit smaller, probably around about 300 pixels. And then I'm going to fade this one off. Now when I close this out, And I could do a hue saturation layer here too. So I'll do hue saturation just so that I can take that cyan and shift it a little bit more blue. I'll get too purple to let me know. Yes to save those changes. Oh, I lied. Oh, you know what? This was not. Oh, I went into my logo one. Yep. Okay. Let me do this. So I need to make this logo one. I'm going to make it a smart object so that I can go into it and then put that other piece in there. Otherwise, it's going to make me merge it. So I'm going to move this over to logo one. And let's make sure I saved it. Yep. There we go. And then the opacity here, I'm going to crank all the way up, and remember that I had it at about 27% if I want to keep that watermark appearance. Now this one I'm not going to save. There it is. Okay, so now I can take logo number one. And see how it's kind of even in the same pose? That's why I really liked this, this setup here. And I can take this logo and I can bring it behind the text now. Or I could just completely change out the background here, which I do have another background for you all. So I'm going to change out the background here. All right, and that's the background we're going to be using there. I'll open it up. And I'm going to have to make the image a little bit bigger here. So you all will have it a little bit bigger. And this time I'm going to select the inside meat of the image. Select the inverse. And then I'm going to do the generative fill on the outside here. And I don't expect it to give me too much out there. I just don't want to have to fade it off and make nothing or something out of nothing. I'd rather there be some sort of imagery there. Perfect. That actually turned out really good. Okay. I'm going to go with number 2. Right click, merge it down. Then I'll close out of this, hit yes to save. Now when I bring it in as my background image, all the way to the back. So I'm going to go on top of my existing galaxy. And I'm going to drag and drop it here. And now I've got a totally futuristic theme here. I'll probably make my mascot here go behind the text. So whenever I have a version of the mascot that goes behind the text, I like to use a different version of it. So I'm going to leave this one up front. And then I'm going to Alt click and drag one behind the word one. Well, the top word one. Uh-oh. Okay, and if I want it to be behind the word one, I'm going to bring it right here. Then I have to turn off the one that's on top. There we go. And this one is inside where we have the white outline around the text. So in order to not have that white outline, I'm going to bring it a layer below that. And then again, if I want to watermark this and make it a little bit bigger, now is my time to do that. I'm trying to get my placement together here. All right, so to watermark it, all I'm going to do is just reduce the opacity here. And I think I'm going to bring my goal over to the right just a little bit. All right. And that's our final design. And of course, you all have a layer mask on here. If I'm going to do a 13 by 19 layer mask, I'm definitely going to make sure that that logo is within my parameters here. But if I'm doing all over, then you know we can go a little crazy. We can go outside the box. All right, so I'm going to turn my layer mask back on or back off. Right click, disable it. And this is ready to go, my loves. So again, let me take this word dream. And for this one, I would turn the outline on because his clothing is so wide, it's covering up too much of the letters. So I would turn on the word dream here. And then I'll go ahead and quick export that as PNG. And that would be my flip number 4. So if I can flip this 4 times, you can too. Go ahead and you only have to flip this 1 time in class. You have help. You're going to flip it 1 time in class. And then your homework is to flip it 3 more times. Once you flip a template 3 times, 4 times, more than likely you'll be able to hit the 5-minute flip. Okay, so that means that when someone gives you their images, tells you what their team colors are, you should be able to flip a template in 5 minutes. All right, my loves, let me go ahead and get this uploaded because I am late, and I know y'all can't wait. So I'll go ahead and get this. It'll be on the back end. And if you cannot see it, let us know in the Facebook group. Not the Facebook group, I'm sorry, the Facebook business page. It has like an app that automatically messages us and lets us know. So if you let us know there, then we can quickly see that you're having issues. Okay. Also, you can DM us on Instagram. It's not Dr. Shanon at Innate Lab. It's the one that says Innate Academy 1 on Instagram. All right. So you should see class number 251 on your dashboard. All right, my loves. Well, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing uploaded for you. And if you come to class today, if you're VIP, Platinum VIP, which is our Craft to Quit program, Shopify Pro, or Shopify Accelerator, this is your opportunity to get real live help, get this done, and then also make sure that you have a final product before you leave class tonight. All right, well, that is it for me. I appreciate you and I love you dearly. And until next time, bye.